Biggest thing for our team this week was not just to regain the health and energy and things like that, but just absolutely stay locked into getting better and not get away and not get distracted from anything other than how much improvement can be made. And I thought we did that. It's a long season, and I thought our team actually made progress from Saturday to Tuesday. It just didn't show at the beginning of the game, and at certain other times in the game it didn't show. I mean, that's how you have to measure it from time to time as a coach, and it doesn't always mean the result is going to be the way that you want it. But the most important thing was to not get away from what mattered most, and I'm proud of the way a young group of guys, even last year's team, as old as they were, it took time for them to understand that. And it guarantees us nothing the next game, obviously, right? But what it does show them is that when they stay locked in to the improvement, they stay locked into the details, they do the things that need to get done. We basically, in 3 days, have had one full practice where it was everybody, basically doing the same thing. And in the other 2 days were a lot of small group, very small group, 2 or 3 guys doing this, 2 or 3 guys doing that together, lifting, watching film, things of that nature, together on the court, but really focused on the isolation of skills, isolation of certain things with decision making, segments of the game. And I thought the energy showed forth. So we need to continue to get healthier. I'm not going to belabor that point. It's not again, it's not an excuse, it's a fact. I think we took some steps in that direction this week. It's not anything that we come out and talk about consistently, but it's all part of this. We've got guys that are still navigating the fact that they went through some serious surgeries in the off season, and that's not why we're losing games. I mean, in the past, but what it becomes is it's all part of this process again. So we really proud of the way that they played. I thought everybody, obviously the start was great. I'll answer individual questions. Answer the questions about individual players. But I do want to make a point about Zach McRoberts. I thought he played 12 possessions. We scored in 10 of those 12, and they scored in 2 of those 12. And to me, the biggest thing, he's an example of what you want. Don't worry about what's said on the outside. Don't worry about what somebody thinks. You worry about what you can get better at. And you worry about how you impact the team. And that's exactly what we want to continue to build forth in this program. So, go ahead.
Mike? Yeah, 22 assists on 29 made baskets. Did you sense better connection, better movement?
Well, I think the movement was better. Yeah, I don't think the connection's been a problem. I think the movement's been a problem. So, I mean, and we still had moments where it wasn't as good today. No question about it. And especially with the zone, we'd have zone offense, and then we would stand a little bit. And that wasn't what the game was giving us. The game was giving us cutting and movement, and that's where we're best anyways. And they did a good job with their zone, but once we got the ball in the middle, it's really a matter of reversal. It's a matter of it touching the paint, whether it's the post up or against the zones, especially the free throw line. It's about getting out to the other side. And we were really focused, and maybe so much, on not handling the ball as much that sometimes we probably didn't get into the gaps with the dribble the way that we should have. But I thought the passing especially, we've really tried to harp on that. We don't need the dribble all the time. What we need is the cutting and the movement. The cutting got better as the game went on.
On your perimeter defense, certainly in the first half, you only had 3-point shots, but it really looked like you were locked in their face.
Yeah. Other than the start the other night, we're locked in pretty good there too. They just made more shots. We didn't move as well as we needed to move early in that game. And in this game, we had really good movement. We had good energy defensively. Our deflections were up. We had 38 deflections each. The last 2 games, we had 37 at halftime. I mean, that to me is that's the story for me. When it comes to defensively, or it comes to the defensive part. So when you're getting activity like that, we were able to score on the turnovers. And the charges were big. I mean, those are certainly things that we've got to start doing a better job of, And when you're not all out, creating a lot of turnovers off the ball pressure, off the double teams, well, you got to find them other places. Sometimes it's a block shot, sometimes it's a charge, things of that nature. So I thought they were really good, and I just thought the energy and the movement and the consistency of movement offensively and defensively was really good at the beginning, and it carried off into the second half.
Terry?
Just talk about how you did set the tone. I think the first 6 minutes it was 15-0, and I mean, what was working well then?
Well, we're moving the ball. We were aggressive defensively. I don't remember what the deflections were the first time out, but game plan, challenging. They got through the middle one time. I'm sure they had some shots they'd probably like to have back. I thought that team would really battle. He's doing an excellent job with them. I mean, John is doing an excellent job with them. And it's a great example. Nobody goes away in the Big Ten. I mean, nobody's just going to say, okay, it's over. And they're a great example of that. We knew they were going to keep coming. And our main focus was Hill, right? And he got a lot of free throws, especially late. The fact that we drew that charge on him was a real boost for us. When we got that good charge, I don't remember what time the game was, what the score was. I know it was early, relatively early. That was big for us because we wanted to defend him a certain way. And we did a good job. I wish we'd have done a better job on Jalen. At times, they got a little loose, but we did a better job later in the game after they had that little run. But at the beginning of the game, everything was clicking in the sense the ball was moving. We were connected defensively. We were getting out on the break, and we were figuring it out. Whether it was man or zone, we were figuring it out with our cutting. We were figuring it out with the post up. And we were getting good shots.
I guess, just sort of speaking, we talk about everything clicking, especially at the beginning of the game. Just what changed? Maybe it was a little bit of you guys, maybe it was them, just in terms of them maybe being able to score a little bit more regularly.
I think guys were worried about fouling. I think in the beginning of the second half?
Yeah.
You mean? Yeah, I think we had guys too worried about fouling. We were doing our work early in the game, doing our defensive work early. And then I think, especially at the start, I think Thomas was worried about getting that third foul, right? I mean, this is the first time we had numerous foul issues at the end of the first half, and then obviously carried into the second a little bit. But that you can't play tentative because you're more likely to foul when you are playing tentative or when you're not doing your work early than you are if you're in position. And we didn't get down into the dig quite as quick either. But I'll watch the film. I mean, I don't think anybody walked in here on the team, or I'm certainly not saying we played some outstanding game. We played a really hard, aggressive 40 minutes against a very good challenger and a team that wasn't going to go away. And a team that's well coached, and a team that's got good veterans and knows how to play. But our guys just continued to stay locked in, and they never lost confidence. And I never saw that head drop, right? And that's so important with a young team. I know you're not in the huddles. It's so important, when a young team, they don't start having self-doubt and talking to themselves when something's not going right. We didn't have any of that. And that's a great step for us. As a coach, I'm very proud of that for them, because you can coach it all you want, but it's got to come from them. And that's the maturity that we've got to continue to build upon.
What was it about that starting lineup that made it so effective? I think they stayed on the court for more than 5 minutes.
Oh, you watched it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they played hard and aggressive. That lineup was a +7 the other night in the Wisconsin game. It was, we did it matchup wise. I mean, I've said this all along, and I really believe it more so now than I even did when I thought it was going to happen. We're a team of multiple starters. So this is not a team that just said, well, this is the starting five. I never thought this season, once Colin went out, I never thought it would be a team that would be 5 consistent starters. But we're building more into that. Now Duran is starting, that nature. We put a lot of emphasis on Curtis and Vonte really isolating them this week, even without, for a day, even without Rob, James, and Josh in there. So that we could really help them get better with their decision making, put them under some chaotic points, things of that nature. We got to keep building our lineup. You don't recruit guys to be backups. You don't train them as backups. You train them to become starters even when they're not starting. We're not a team right now that we just look and say, wow, we know we're getting this right now. Eventually, I hope we get to that point. But last year's got like that. But we don't have that. We don't have the experience of that yet. I mean, it's just not there yet. So that one did a nice job. But 4 of those guys were on the court the other night when we had a bad start. I mean, it just is what it is.
You had not had Devonte the last 2 games, and he kind of gave you a good first half.
He did.
Is he ready at this point to run some of the offense up top for you?
Well, at times, but I think you saw a little bit of both today. I think you saw when it was simple and then when he tried to do a little too much. But he's an aggressive young guy. I mean, I look back at it, he could have played on Tuesday. I wish I would have, but he had just gotten back. But I wish I'd have put him in that situation a little bit, and I didn't. And I knew the way he's practiced the last couple of days, I wanted to get him in early, and that's not to say Kurt didn't do an excellent job in practice. But Devontae's, he's got that Yogi type body, right? And not Yogi yet, but I mean, as far as in the sense of, low to the ground, and he's strong, we just need him to keep the game simple. But he can put pressure on the ball. He's got very quick feet because of the low center of gravity. He can make passes. He's got good feel, and he'll get better and better.